A lot of customers worry about locks. There's no need, provided they're treated with respect and the simple procedures followed. You might find it helpful to moor before the first lock. Walk up to take a look at it and decide who's going to do what. The lock will be empty when you arrive, so stop just before, check that your front doors are closed, and drop off a crew member with a lock handle. Drive the boat slowly into the lock, remembering not to travel right to the end, as the top gates leak badly and water will cascade onto the front deck. Check that the bottom gate paddles on each gate have been closed. If not, wind them both all the way down. Then close the bottom gates. Walk up to the top gate and wind up one of the ground paddles using the lock handle. Initially, the boat will be pushed backwards by the water coming in. Then after a few seconds, that water will hit the back gates and start to push the boat forwards. Use short bursts of forward and reverse to keep the boat steady. Walk around the lock to the other top ground paddle and open. Don't open both top ground paddles at the same time, as the rapid flow of water will make it hard for the person on the boat to control its position in the lock. When the lock's full, open the top gate. As the boat leaves, close the two top paddles carefully by holding the lock handle and lifting up the locking catch to wind the paddles down. Never let the paddles just drop. On this canal, our locks are always left empty with the bottom gates open and all the paddles down. So unless another boat is coming from the Brecon end of the canal which could use your now full lock, you must drain it back down. So first close the top gate. Walk down to the bottom gates and wind up both paddles to empty the lock. When empty, open both bottom gates. Finally, wind down both bottom gate paddles. Then rejoin your boat or walk up to repeat at the next lock. When returning, it's obviously a similar operation, except you're going downhill and the lock will need filling first. Check that the bottom gate paddles on each gate have been closed. If not, wind them both all the way down. Then close the bottom gates. Walk up to the top gate and wind up the top ground paddles either side of the gate using the lock handle. When the lock's full, open the top gate. Close the two top ground paddles carefully by holding the lock handle and lifting up the locking catch to wind the paddles down. Don't let the paddles just drop. The boat can now come into the lock. Close the top gate. Make sure that the back of the boat has gone past the sill markers. This is the most critical part of lock operation. Walk down to the bottom gates and wind up one of the paddles to start emptying the lock. When the lock is about half empty, wind the other paddle up. When empty, open both bottom gates. Finally, wind down both bottom paddles so that you're leaving the lock as you found it. Don't forget to pick up your crew and check they've got the lock handles with them. The process of filling and draining a lock will take about 20 minutes. You need to allow for this in your planning, remembering that there might be others waiting. A few cautionary notes. Obviously never tie your boat up when in a lock. Don't even loop the rope around a bollard. If you think you've caught the sill, close the two bottom gate paddles immediately and refill the lock using the two ground paddles at the top until you're clear of the sill. If anyone falls into the lock, close all the paddles immediately to prevent the boat from moving and use the ladders to rescue them. Don't waste water, check the paddles are firmly shut, and enter and leave the locks very slowly.